oh, you make friends and have adventures, and then it's like pays $12 an hour. It's like, wait a minute.
Hey everybody, it's Dustin with Likely Lost. Today we're going to do an interview with one of my co-workers I worked with this year. She was the front desk manager here at the Belton Chalet. Her name is Bria, and when I snap my fingers, she's going to be in this chair. Hey Bria.
Hey.
So thanks for doing this interview. It means a lot. Who are you? Where are you from? And what do you do?
So I'm Bria, and I am a seasonal worker. I've been doing this for a few years now. I'm originally from Texas, and I was the front desk manager this summer, and I've been doing seasonal work for about 3 years.
Good. So what made you want to do seasonal work?
Originally I was kind of working at a desk all day, every day for like 4 years straight, and I realized I didn't want to do that anymore. And I wanted to be able to travel and connect more with people. But I didn't have a lot of money. And with seasonal work, you can find jobs with housing, which is great. So that's really what kind of got me started into seasonal work.
Sounds good. So what was your first job and how did you find it? A lot of people have trouble doing that.
So I really didn't know where to go at first to find seasonal work. And I really don't think I was looking for seasonal work specifically. I was actually just like typing in like jobs with housing because like couldn't afford like my own housing. And the first job I ended up getting was I was the front desk agent at the YMCA of the Rockies in Estes Park, Colorado.
Did you enjoy that job?
I did, yeah. I ended up going back there second time because I enjoyed it so much.
Cool. Yeah, so let's talk about this last job you just did. Specifically, our last job, what did you like and what did you not like about it?
The Belton specifically is a nice place. I feel like a lot of the guests are really nice and they actually like want to talk to you about like what are you doing here? Like how do you like it here? They're really pretty personable, which makes the job more fun. I think that depending on the type of person you are, it can be kind of hard to be in such a rural area. Wi-Fi is not great, cell reception is not always great, and there's not always a lot of opportunities to do other things outside of like going into the park and hiking, which is great, but sometimes it can, get a little tiring. So,
Wi-Fi's gonna get better. You gotta remember that. They're gonna get better.
Hope so. Like sometime.
It'll get better. They got to. They can't have that again. It's after you now. Okay, so as a seasonal worker, what are some things that entice you to go work at a property, like such as like free place to stay or ski passes? Like what really drives you to go to a property?
Money.
Money. Just money?
Well, not okay. Like seriously.
You don't even care what it looks like outside. You just want the money.
Well, it's a combination of things. For me, when I first started seasonal work, I think my what I was looking for kind of changed. What I looked for then is not kind of the same as what I look for now. But when I first started doing seasonal work, I didn't have a car, and so it was really important for me to find a place where I wasn't so disconnected from things, and to find places that had like shuttles. Because I didn't want to be stuck like on a property without being able to like get to a store or just like experience the area around me. So that was important then. I didn't have as many responsibilities, so I didn't really need as much money back then when I first started doing seasonal work. And I hadn't been to a lot of places in the US, so I kind of was just like looking for states that I hadn't been to, and so that was like a wide variety of places. Nowadays I have more bills, more responsibilities, a car note now, and so like money is more of a driver for me, more important for me now.
That's kind of how it is. Like as you get older, you start like, I need to put away some money or have some money.
I mean, 3 years have gone by, and I've gotten older, and my needs have changed. And so it's gotten a little bit harder to find places that, are somewhat, they look interesting and you can actually make enough money to live. That's getting kind of hard these days, but.
So let's move on to your housing situation. I know here with Pursuit, they offered housing this year, and you got to live in a little bit of a special situation. So explain what you're living in and what you like about it, and maybe some of the other places that you've experienced.
Yeah, so I guess one of the best things about being a manager here is that I got my own studio apartment-esque area. So I didn't have to share a space with anyone. I had my own kitchen, my own bathroom, which is really like a pro because that's like.
People are gross.
Yeah. It's like on top of like needing more money as you get older, you get less, patient with people, and you don't necessarily want to share your space all the time. So that was really a great, pro. But I've definitely stayed at some places, not as a manager, where I was like in a like funky space, old like dilapidated building. Like sometimes you go into places and you're like, oh, the housing cost is like so cheap. It's like $200 a month. And you're like real excited, but then you get there and you realize why it's $200 a month, because the place is like old and like funky and not well kept up with. And so then you're like, okay, well, I guess I gotta stick it out. I came all the way here. So it's touch and go. Like you never really know what you're getting into with that.
This is a little bit different. I like asking Heather this question because she kind of stopped to think about it for a second. What was something that blindsided you on your journey? Was there something surprising that popped up you didn't anticipate? So something that blindsided you, like since you've been traveling.
One thing that I didn't factor into the cost of this, and this is something that I've been talking to people about, is how expensive it is to transport yourself from one job to the next. I was not budgeting for that appropriately or at all, actually, and it started to like eat into my savings and just caused me to not have as much money at my disposal. Like most places like don't give you any kind of help with getting yourself to their location, and so whether you're flying or you're driving, that's a lot of money. And
it used to be real bad if you start using a credit card. Like it can really wreck you.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely even coming here, I spent $500 to get here from Houston one way, and that's atrocious. And I don't like thinking about it because that's messed up. But it's just like, oh, I agreed to come here and I have to be here at a certain time for orientation. So like, what can I do? And so you just do it, but like you can easily get into debt and get into trouble, like just trying to afford to get to where you're trying to go.
Okay, so how did your family react to the news you were pursuing a seasonal worker lifestyle? So when you took off, and I don't know anything about you, but did you have any family reactions? Like mine was like, my mom was kind of like, why are you going? Why are you leaving me? Mm-hmm. What about you? Do you have anything to share about that?
Yeah, it was hard because I ended up leaving a job that was seen as like being a stable job. It was a job where I had benefits, the whole, kind of a regular job.
You got another 30 years in.
Yeah. And I had been there for like 4 years. And so when I said, hey, I'm leaving and I'm going to go move to a place I've never been to before, for a temporary job that doesn't have benefits or insurance or anything, and I'm just gonna do that. They looked at me like I was crazy. Like,
I know that stare.
It's kind of like this silent, like,
something wrong with you.
Why are you why are you leaving what seems to be a stable job, even though the place closed down like a year after I left? So, like.
Good decision.
Yeah, I know, right? I could see things coming. I could see the signs. But, at the time, they thought I was crazy. And to this day, my grandmother still thinks that I started She still thinks that I started doing seasonal work because I couldn't find a real job. To this day, she still thinks that that's the case. So I mean, I'm an adult. We're all adults here. Like, you just do whatever you want to do. But there definitely was this idea that I was like losing my mind and that I was just crazy. But yeah, you do it anyway.
You're not alone. You're not alone. It was probably the worst part of it is like other people reacting to you doing something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say it was the worst part, but it was very much like, I mean, I think it depends on like your relationship with the people around you. It was just kind of like, yeah, I look crazy, but I know this is what I need to do, because I hated that job so much that I was just like, I gotta go. I gotta leave this. I can't do this anymore. I'm depressed.
How has being away from your family for extended periods affected you? How about your family? So, has it affected you positively, negatively? Have you grown, dissolved? And has your family said anything else about what's going on in your life, or what's up?
I think it's hard because so much of our relationships, I feel like, can start to change or deteriorate if we're not like seeing people often. I feel like this is definitely, I'll say this is definitely, when I started doing seasonal work, besides going to school, it was like the first time where I knew that I was going to be away from like friends and family for an extended amount of time. And I find that it's harder to keep up with people and like events that are happening in people's lives when you're away for so long.
It's easy to miss a birthday or anything.
It's easy to miss that kind of stuff. It's easy to miss like when people are, you know, having medical issues or going to the doctor and having this happen and that happen, because you're traveling. And sometimes I can't afford to like fly back home. Like sometimes it's a thought of, oh, can I afford the ticket during Thanksgiving or Christmas to go back home? And sometimes it's been like, no, I can't. And so sometimes I feel like it's harder for me to keep up with what's going on with friends and family, because, you know, phone calls are great, you know, Skype is great, Zoom is great, but it's not quite the same as like being there physically.
In person, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like it means a little bit more, but.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's different. You kind of have to work harder to kind of keep up to date with what's going on, because you can't just show up there. You can't like, you're not physically there. So I don't know. It can be kind of hard in that regard. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. How has working seasonal jobs changed you, and do you believe it's something more people should experience? More people, not all people, more.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's important you say that, because it's not for everyone. It really isn't. I do think it's a great opportunity, though. I think that one of the reasons I got into it is because I wanted to travel, and it allows you to do that without having to have as many resources, as much money. It's definitely something that I feel like it's accessible to a good amount of people. You get to meet different people, not only from around the country, but from around the world. And that's been a great aspect of it, in my opinion. I think that, I don't know how much it's changed me, to be honest. I think in some ways it's made me more open, because I'm meeting people that I would not have met otherwise. I think it's kind of made me more open to certain ways of thinking and certain types of things in general. And I've been I try to maintain like a gratefulness, because I still think, even though this is something that is accessible, it's not always something that people can do. Like, to be able to say, hey, I'm not gonna have a traditional job, I'm gonna work seasonal work where I have to move every 6 months or whatever. That's not always something that people can do. And so I think that it's made me more grateful for my position to a degree, for me to be able to like do this. Yeah.
We all are very lucky to be able to travel around and see things. And
Yeah.
like most of us have seen a lot more of the world than like people from where I'm from.
Yeah, same.
And it's wild. Like you said, I've seen so many of those things on TV. We've seen them.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, no, it's real surreal to think that way. Just like the things that people are seeing on TV or through like a phone screen, those are things that we get to see in person. When you have that moment when you're like, oh man, I thought I would never see this in person.
Yeah, I know.
It's
It's
insane. It's like, yeah, I'm so lucky.
So we've talked about this, but this is a good question because a lot of people, me especially, like when I was thinking about doing this, like in my head it wasn't gonna work out. But how much longer do you see yourself living your current lifestyle, and are there any particular goals you have before your journey ends?
So this is an interesting question for me since I just accepted a year-round position. I think that I have changed. My desires and my goals have changed over the 3 years. And, seasonal work did for me what it needed to at the time that I decided to do it. I was able to travel. I got out of my, job that I hated. And I found an industry that I really liked to work in. But as I've gotten older, I have decided, I found that I need more money, and unfortunately a lot of the seasonal work that I have found, or a lot of the seasonal work that's out there, the pay isn't what I need to make now as a 27-year-old, like with a car note, trying to save up money for other goals. I found that I can't afford to do it right now. I think that with the goals that I have for the future, it would hinder those being able to actually come to fruition. So for now, I will be doing a full-time job here in Montana. And we'll see how that goes. It'll be my first full-time job, like permanent job, since 2019. So we'll see how it goes, but yeah, I won't be doing seasonal work for a little while. I don't know if I'll be able to go back to it, just because of finances, but we'll see.
I just want to add that, like, I feel like seasonal work gives you an opportunity to try something new.
Yeah.
Like, it definitely, like, you can hit entry level and you can move up a little bit. Bria's the manager of the front desk. She's like the face of, like, the front of the building. And I know it's weird to talk about that, but it's like, I came out of something completely different and now I'm housekeeping manager,
Yeah.
So you stick yourself in a different environment, you grow some skills, you learn some things. That's really the advantage, but the disadvantage, like she said, the money, they can kind of withhold that because they're like, hey, we got you a place to stay.
Yeah. That's such a good point, because a lot of places there's this like air of you should be grateful that we're paying you this $13, $14 an hour because you have housing. We give you food, even though the food is craptastic, and like your room is like falling apart and your window pane barely keeps out the bugs. And it's just like, well, yeah, but I'm living in a dump, and so.
But it's free.
but you're only paying $200 a month for that dump and for that food. So aren't you grateful for what we've given you? It's like, what is this? Like, no, like.
It's like $800 raise. They got $800 coming at you that way.
But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's an experience. Like, I mean, yeah, I have adventures. Like, I have stories to tell now, but it's like,
I think that's what we're really getting paid in stories.
Yeah, those job postings are like, oh, you make friends and have adventures, and then it's like pays $12 an hour. It's like, wait a minute, can I afford these adventures though? Like, really?
Oh man. What about particular goals? Did you say a place you might want to go before it's all over? I know you said you're going to stop for now. Did you go to a place? Like, did you have a goal?
I mean, when I started, I didn't have a goal to go anywhere in particular. I think I just wanted to see more of the country. When I started doing seasonal work, I had already been out of the country twice before, but I realized like I had seen more of like Europe than I had seen of my own country. And so I was like, you know what, I think this would be a great opportunity to see more of my country, but I didn't really have a particular place in mind. I think since starting seasonal work, I now have a couple places I would like to go to that I just haven't been able to go to, because some of the really nice places everyone wants to go to. Like,
it's hard to get in some places.
Yeah, some places, like I think Martha's Vineyard, I feel like I've applied to like twice, 3 times maybe. And like there are places like at Martha's Vineyard that I feel like everyone applies to. That place in like Maine, I don't know, there are a couple places that I can think of right now that I swear I'm like, I feel like I'm fighting with like thousands of other people to like get into these places. Yeah. Like the good ones where you're like, yeah, I can afford to make that money. Oh yeah, that looks like a great place to live. Those are the ones that like everyone's going for, so it's hard.
Okay, so this is, you're in the home stretch now. It's almost over now, Bria. Yeah, you're doing a great job, by the way. This is the important question. It's the whole reason we're making the video. Mm-hmm. What advice do you have for anyone thinking about getting into the lifestyle?
I think that I would caution people to really think about why you're doing it and if it makes sense for your goals and your needs. I think that I don't want anyone to get into this and end up in debt or end up in a worse place. And so I would just say, like, for whatever reason you're getting into it, if it's because you think that you'll be able to save money for a car or for a down payment for something, or if you are looking to have fun, if that's all you're looking for, then go for it and just make sure that the places that you're applying for are going to meet your needs and have you where you want to be at the end of the day. Don't be afraid to ask questions. You are paying to go to a place that you've likely never been to. Ask questions. Inundate them with questions. Like, poke at what they're saying and ask them, like, this doesn't make sense. I need to know, like, am I going to have a shuttle service? Is there going to be this? Am I going to have this? Like, ask questions, because you can end up spending a lot of money to get to places and realize once you get there that this is not what I thought it was going to be. So just make sure that you know what you're getting into as much as possible, of course, and don't be afraid to ask them questions and to like call them up and try to get answers about certain things before you spend your money to go somewhere and maybe wind up like
begging for a ride at the grocery store.
Yeah. Like I have been there. And then like, so like short story. I go to Vermont. There has only been one place that I've gone to that I really just did not like it. And I spent so much money to get there. It was so expensive. And I hated it, but I was like, can I actually afford to leave early? I realized like I had to work some more, like probably like a month and a half more to be able to afford to leave.
That's where I'm at right
I was like, as much as I hated it, I just paid to get here. I can't afford to leave yet. I have to continue to work. And that's like a terrible place to be in, because I'm sitting here like, I decided to do seasonal work to get away from this place that had me depressed for 4 years. And now I'm in a place in Vermont and God knows where, depressed. And I'm
like, all the way up to 40 hours. Like, please, let me stay longer.
I'm like, no, I can't do this. So like, just make sure you know what you're getting into. You just don't want to be out like in a worse position, like doing this. Like, you're supposed to be having fun. At the end of the day, we all want to have fun. We all want to travel and enjoy our time. No one wants to be stressed out, worried, and depressed doing seasonal work. Like that, I feel like that should not happen. But like, if you pick the wrong places,
it can happen.
That can happen.
Yeah, that's a really good piece of advice. Being your own advocate, especially in the interview process, like you pick your prod. You don't let them say, just don't let them smile at you.
Yeah.
Stick higher on that. Okay, so last one, and this is it, Bria. Finally, what place stands out as a must-see destination that you'd want everyone to see? So where do you recommend everybody needs to see before they die?
Dang, son.
Don't have to be here, it can be anywhere. You've been all over the place.
I mean, to be honest, I swear I'm not just saying it, but I do think, I know we had a conversation about this. I'm not the most outdoorsy person. I live right outside of Glacier National Park, and I can count on one hand the amount of times I've been inside the park. But I do think that this is a fantastic area. I would say like the first time I saw the Going to the Sun Road, I feel like pictures can't do it justice. Like, you have to see it for yourself. It just feels like otherworldly. I swear. I would say like if you spend a summer outside of Glacier, or just like, or if you even like end up staying like inside of Glacier, you won't regret it. I honestly feel like that's the case. Like, even though I'm not the most outdoorsy person, I don't regret coming here like whatsoever. I mean, this is one of the best benefits of being here, is being able to get into the park like for free. Like, of all the places I've worked at, like, to hell with the ski pass. I don't care about ski pass. Like, I don't care about that. But being able to get into the park for free, like, that's a real benefit. Like,
feels good driving past and people online.
Yeah.
I gotta work here. I gotta get
in. Like, they know you're going to go hike. You know you're going to go hike, but like,
they can only smile at you and say, keep going.
Yeah. You're going into the employee line. So like, yeah, come to Glacier.
So this is your part in the video, Bria, where you plug yourself, and I will put all this stuff in it. But tell them about yourself. This is your chance.
Oh my God, I have to plug myself. So in addition to being a seasonal worker, I am also a YouTuber. Dustin will put my YouTube channel name either on the screen or in the description. I know I did say that I'm coming to the end of my seasonal worker journey. But I do still I will still be talking about traveling, kind of how it's going to be staying in Montana for the winter, and also just like future travels and stuff. So check out my channel, see if you're interested in subscribing. That would be awesome.
Hey, thanks for watching the video. Go subscribe to Bria. She's awesome. She gave you a lot of really good advice. If you were on the edge about going into this lifestyle, or just living this life, it's not always rainbows, man. There's some honesty in that whole interview you just watched. So definitely really think about it, be your own advocate, and if you think you want to go see the world, this is an awesome way to do it. But be real with yourself too. Say bye, Bria.
Bye. Peace.